Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're talking about kids that misbehave. What is wrong with my kid? There are 4 steps that I would start with, or that I have started with in the past, to help combat negative behaviors before seeking further help. Number one, establish open communication with your child. This one seems like a given, but when you really look at it, you have to think back to the ways in which you and your child communicate. Is it just always demands, or um, something that you're commanding them to do? Do you often ask about their day or try to understand how they feel about certain situations and events that happen in their life? Do they feel comfortable enough to talk to you about events happening that you haven't witnessed in their life? For myself, this is something that I had to work toward because I have multiple kids, and it can be tough sometimes to try to keep that level of communication open with all of them. I do have dinner with my children every night and try to just establish the habit of telling each other about our day. But I like to grab them one on one and just understand how they're feeling, talk to them about things that they may be working through that I don't understand. And I always try to have compassion. It's just like with your peers or other people your age. It's important to be genuine, because children can feel when you're not. So I think if you genuinely try to establish that communication, that is like the first layer of kind of getting to know your child and understanding how they feel, or getting a better idea of their character, because it constantly changes as they grow. The next thing is identify topics that are tough to discuss. So if you're talking to your child every day, you're going to notice that some topics are hard for them to discuss. And some topics are going to be hard for you as a parent to discuss. If my child has trouble discussing a particular class or something that happens with a particular student, but you're open to discussing everything else and you can communicate about everything else, I'm kind of going to feel like there's some trigger in that class or something that's really upsetting you in that class to the point where you don't even want to talk about it. I feel like this is how, like, you kind of dig in to figure out, like, if your child's being bullied, or if they're like repressing emotions, or holding things that they kind of don't want to deal with. I don't want to say to press, but you just kind of have to know as a parent topics that you need to identify, that seem sensitive to your child, so you can figure out a way in and try to discuss those things and give them that open door, like, hey, when you are comfortable enough to discuss this, we should talk about it. Number 3 is follow through with a system. So there are rewards and there are consequences. When your child behaves appropriately and does things that they're supposed to do, there should be rewards in place. You always want to reward positive behavior. And then on the other side of that, when your child misbehaves, you kind of want to have some consequences so that they understand that this is not something that you should do, or this is not a behavior that's favored in this house. I feel like when it comes to your child acting out in school, you kind of have to, like, identify things that you can control first, and that's at home. If a child is getting away with being disrespectful at home, of course it's going to be a given that they feel like they can get away with that kind of behavior at school. I think that it's important to reinforce positive behaviors. I know a lot of parents kind of fixate on the negative, like, if you do something wrong, this is going to be your consequence. And when they do something right, we don't feel the need to reward, because you just kind of feel like this is what you're supposed to be doing. But I do think that children need to be rewarded when they do right, to motivate that positive behavior on a consistent basis. I do have a reward and consequence system for my children. You can find that video on the Great Kids page. So we do have a reward and consequence system. They're responsible for chores that they need to complete. They have a wheel that they spin when they do really well, like they get a spin for each A on their report card. Or if they meet their chore goal, they receive allowance, or they can spin. And I think that it's important. It has definitely made a difference in my household to show them that when you do bad things will happen. And when you do good things will happen. A lot of times it's easy to point the finger at the school and feel like, well, what's going on in the school? But if your house is not in order, I don't think it's proper to try to attack the school when this is a behavior that could be happening at home. And honestly, I mean, I know it's tough. Like, a lot of schools or teachers will penalize because they feel like, even if you get away with this at home, I'm going to ensure that you don't get away with this at school. Or if they feel like the child gets away with stuff at home, then they're harder on them at school. So I would say you definitely have to clean house first and make sure that you're doing everything as a parent to show your child the difference between right and wrong at home, and setting that example at home, so then when they get to school, they kind of already know what's expected of them. Or if there is a problem at school, that you know how to address it because you're familiar with your child. You know your child first. Number 4 is to have your child evaluated. If you know that you've been doing everything for your child that you possibly can in the household, and you advocate for your child at school often to make sure that everything happening at the school is in line to what's happening at home, so that it's a full circle to motivate positive behavior and then target negative behaviors so that they don't continue. The next thing will probably be to get your child evaluated. Now, I know for sure in the Black community, it is like a lot to get a parent to have their child evaluated. Mental health in itself is like something that is very ignored in the Black household. From my experience, I'm not speaking for all Black people. I'm just saying personally from my experience, mental health is not something that's really commonly talked about enough. But we have to realize that generational curses are real. And just because your parents and parents' parents and parents' parents did not believe that something could have been going on outside of their control, or mental disorder would be some level of a handicap, we can't force that on our kids. The reality is, several different things affect several different people in several different ways. And if you don't at least take the time to investigate and educate yourself on what could be going on with your child, then you're doing them an injustice. It wasn't until I actually started going to therapy with one of my children and realizing some of the mental issues they had, for me to realize some stuff that I was dealing with myself, or some stuff that was overlooked inside myself as a child. So I would definitely say that nothing's wrong with having your child evaluated. If you have your child evaluated and something comes back positive, this is an opportunity for you to learn about what's going on with them mentally, and then prepare yourself and your child's surroundings to accommodate that situation for the betterment of your child. If we're all working towards the betterment of our children. So sometimes this is a necessary part where we have to say, okay, let me get you evaluated and see what's going on, so I can know how to better serve you as a parent, so I can advocate for you at school for how the teachers can better serve you as educators, and full circle everywhere around, coaches, jobs, whatever. People can't understand how to better serve you without information. So if you just keep sending your child to school like, it's okay, it is what it is, I got it at home, or call me if they act up, or whatever, and you're not really addressing the problem at hand or looking for a solution to the problem, then you're doing your child a disservice. So I would definitely say, if you've gone through all of these other things, and things aren't getting better, you may need to get your child evaluated. I know a lot of times that comes from a teacher first, but I'm a parent of 4 and I've kind of been through a lot of this stuff. So I want to help cut some corners for you if this is what you're dealing with. This is something that I just want to share from my personal experience, and I hope that it encourages you and builds you up. But when you seek betterment for your child, you first have to accept that that includes betterment for yourself. I think that sometimes we'll sign our kids up for therapy and we go, and then when the child goes to address something that you have to change, then you kind of want to walk away from it, because it's like, we're here to work on you, not to work on me. But it comes together. It's a package deal. You can't just go into a therapy office or go into a doctor and expect for something to happen that's going to change your child's path in life and it not change yours. It's your child. If your child had a terminal illness and you had to change everything they eat, I'm sure your diet would change too, because you're not going to want to fix different meals for everybody in the house. So with mental health, I would say it's that same situation. You have to take it as if I want something to change in my child, I need to walk in here understanding and accepting that something may have to change inside of me as well, and be okay with that. Because if it's going to help for the betterment of your child, it's going to help for the betterment of you too. Okay, and that's what family is all about. All right, I really want y'all to have a blessed rest of the day. If you know somebody this video can help, go ahead and share it with them. Don't forget to follow the Great Kids channel and subscribe. Turn on those notifications for when we have new content coming out, and I will see you guys next time. Be blessed.